we read sounds. So let me share my screen. I am going to tell you the rules that are going to be in this word first. All right, the tab 2 rule. You're going to see the tab 2 rule in this word that I'm about to spell. Let me show you the sounds. Well, this is going to be hard. I'm not sure if this is, we're going to do this. This is hard for me. It might be a doozy for you, but it's hard for me. You're like, what are you doing to us? Okay, it's not so hard. Okay, it's a little bit hard. All right, it's pretty hard. I'm not sure how to separate these sounds. We're gonna have to leave it like that. All right, so here's a vowel sound. Wait a minute. Give me a second, you guys. Okay. So this sound is a short vowel sound because there are 2 consonants after it. You can see that. This sound right here is an I. And an I will make the E sound if it's toward the end of a longer word and the next letter is a vowel. As in India, Indian. So when an I is toward the end of a multi-syllable word and there's a vowel after it, it will often say E, okay? This just follows the tab 2 rule. And then a C will make its soft sound. Let me scoot that over. A C will sound like an S if the next letter is an E, I, or Y. Okay, are you ready for this little monster? I don't know if I am. Okay, here we go. Go for it. Try reading it. There are the syllables. Okay, so this A is going to make its short sound because of the tab 2 rule. This C is going to make its normal sound, k, because that's not an E, I, or Y. But this C, you see all, this is what was kind of tripping me up. Like these two make kind of a blended sound together. There's 3 letters on one line. This C is going to make it soft sound because there's an E, I, or Y after it. This E is silent. QU says qu, qu, qu. Like, it sounds like a KW. And here's that rule right here. When you see I toward the end of a longer word and there's a vowel after it, it's going to make the long E sound often. This is the tab 2 rule. E will say its short sound if the next 2 letters are consonants. And then this C is making its soft sound because of that E, I, or Y. So we have a, k, k, but these 2 sounds are going to really blend together and sound kind of like one sound. That's why it was hard for me to separate. E, s, acquiesce, acquiesce. Acquiesce means to consent or give your permission. Acquiesce, acquiesce. Did you get that one? Y, A, or A? Y, yes, or A, almost. What is this? Was it as hard for you to read as it was for me to separate those sounds? Y, A, Y, yes, or A, almost. Almost everybody got it almost on that one. Let's back up a little bit. Let's do a little bit of an easier one. And then I'm going to come back to acquiesce. We're going to visit that one a lot for a review. Don't you worry, it'll get easier. Okay, I'm going to just come right out and spell this word. and explain it before you read it. All right, so this O is going to say ah because of the tap 2 rule. This E will say because of the tap 2 rule. This C will sound like a S because there's an E, I, or Y after it. This E will say because of the tap 2 rule. So take your time. Pencil read this word. Here is where the syllables are divided. Okay. So if this says here, if here we have ah, with this C sounding like an S because that E is there, these two letters making one sound, then our sounds are k, ah, n, d, s, n, d. Condescend. Condescend. Was that one a Y or an A for condescend? That's right, you did. Okay, good. All right, what is this word say? Acquiesce. Acquiesce. And this word? Condescend. Condescend. All right, next. Next. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we did that word last time. I meant to do this one, but you got to review. Okay, what's happening in this word is this A, this C is making its normal hard sound, right? This A is making its short sound because of the tap 2 rule. What's happening here? OR usually says or if it's at the beginning and middle, like order or form. It can say or at the end of a short word, one syllable, like for, but when or comes at the end, the very last sound of a multi-syllable word, this one is 2 syllables because there are 2 vowels that don't touch, that's how you can tell. So when or comes at the very end of a multi-syllable word, it usually says makes its unstressed sound. So what would this word say? So we have k, n, d, candor. Candor. Y or A? Did you get candor? Yes or almost? Gotcha, Blair. Yeah. Okay, good, good, good. So, my friends, what is this word? Acquiesce. This word? Condescend. This word? Candor. Next. Candor means frankness. All right, so here we have a tap 2 rule. E says E because one of the next 2 letters is another vowel. Same with this U. It's going to make its long sound and say its name, oo or U, because one of the next 2 letters is another vowel. This I breaks the tap 2 rule because I's break the tap 2 rule when they are in a middle syllable. And you can tell how many syllables are in a word because there are vowels that don't touch, except for a silent D, vowel sounds that don't touch. So this is a 4-syllable word. This I is in a middle syllable, so it gets to make its short sound regardless of if there are 2 consonants after it or not. That's called the confident rule. When I is in the middle syllable, it says I, even if there aren't 2 consonants after it. This also follows the tap 2 rule and says it's long sound because there is another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. E at the end is silent, usually. So go ahead and take a minute and read this word for me. Oh, here we have a C that's sounding like an S because there's an E, I, or Y after it. All right, so we have E, L, U, S, I, D, A, T, E, eel. Actually, let's do a syllable reading since I broke it up into syllables here. So we have E. Then we go to the next syllable and start with the L. O, U, lu. Put the first two together. Elu. Elu, elu. E is accented. Let me make sure I'm putting the accent in the right spot. If I have a 4-syllable word, the accent goes on the third one from the end. That would be this one right here. So I had the accent in the wrong spot. Let me change that. Instead of elu, it's going to be elu. Now I'm going to start with the C. S, I, si, eluci, and the D. D-ate, date, elucidate, elucidate. Y or A, yes or almost for elucidate? Why is the A making a long sound in candor? It's making it short sound. In this word, it's making its long sound because there is another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. Oh, in making? Oh, yeah, why is the A making? Yeah. All right, getting about 50-50 split for getting elucidate without me. All right, no worries, we're practicing, we're reviewing. So try to read this word again. This is going to be accented right here. It's a little bit of a pattern breaker. Acquiesce, acquiesce. And this one? Condescend, condescend. And here we have candor, candor, and elucidate, elucidate. Elucidate means to explain. We have elucidated, elucidate. All right. Do you want an easy, medium, or hard one next? Put an EM or H in the Q&A for me. These have all been a little bit tricky for people so far. So do you want them to still remain difficult? We're getting lots of hards, some mediums, and a couple easies. Okay. All right, let's try. Let's do this one. Oops, what am I doing? This one has, even if you know how to read this word, it has a lot of reading rules that I want you to be aware of, such as EX. You're never going to see a word that just starts with plain X, except for the word X-ray. It's always going to have an EX, but EX can say 2 different things. It can say X, like explain, or extra, X, or it can sound like eggs, like you fry in a pan, eggs, eggs. And you can usually tell by the next letter. This is a silent sound. S is a silent sound. Z is a vibrating sound, and it's usually going to do the same thing that the letter after it is doing. So since this is a vibrating sound, your vocal cords are used. All vowels vibrate. So this is going to make its vibrating sound, which sounds like eggs. Okay, so this is going to sound like eggs, like you fry in a pan. This E is making its short sound, eh. Even though it breaks the tap 2 rule, EX will only ever make one of these 2 sounds. This E is going to make the short sound because of the tap 2 rule. This I want to explain. Usually AR will say R, like art or car or far. However, it can say air if it is toward the end of a longer word and there's a vowel after it. It will say air. And then E at the end of a longer word usually sounds like an, Y at the end of a longer word usually sounds like an E. So we have eggs. I'm going to put just one dot there to refer to this whole sound right here. Eggs. Air. That's also going to get one sound, one dot, to represent this whole sound air. And then E. Go ahead and read it without me. That's amazing, Blair. Wow. Okay. All right. So here we have eggs. Air. E. Exemplary. Exemplary. Exemplary means a model, exemplary student. Was that one an A or an Y? Yes or almost? You got that one. Nice, Joseph. Not even close. Exemplary. Exemplary. Good. I had a light bulb moment when we were warming up the word crescent. I knew it was a letter C rather than a K because I was able to separate the C from the R. Then I knew because E-I-Y wasn't next. Amazing! Amazing! I love that you took the time to write that out and share that with me. That makes my day to know that you were able to do that. Well done. All right, my friends, let's read this top word right here. Acquiesce. Acquiesce. And condescend. Condescend. Candor. O-R will say at the end. Candor of multisyllable words. Elucidate. Elucidate. And exemplary. Exemplary. How are you feeling about how you did today? These are challenging because you're able, as long as you just are taught the rules, then you're learning. Good, good, good. So even if you got A's almost or not even close on some of those words when you were trying to read them on your own, here's what did happen. You heard me teach the why of the word. You might not have retained everything that I said. You might not have retained anything that I said, but the next time I say it, it will sink a little bit deeper into those nerve pathways. So even if every word today was that was super, super hard, you heard the explanation of why it was spelled the way that is. And that is progress, even though it's invisible, because it got in there. It's planting that seed. Every time you come back, we're going to water that tab 2 rule. We're going to water the EXs, X or eggs. We have a lot of review so that that little seed will be able to grow into a plant. And then pretty soon you'll get a lot more A's and then a few Y's. And then you'll be feeling a lot more better about your reading progress. Okay, we're not looking for perfection. It's all progress. All right. Let me just check the comments here. Good, I have to do it more. Okay, yeah. All right, my friends. Thanks for making the time to come to reading class. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Bye, everybody.